5, 3rd down and 2. That was bad. We ain't got to talk about too much. If I can play the ball and hold it, what? How is that not called? That make him call a damn thing. What is it to wait for? He's standing right there. He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper. It's that close.
Hello and welcome. We are the Aussie Guys. I'm AJ. Here with me is G. How are you, G?
AJ, good, mate. Good. How's your week been?
Oh,
for the employed.
For the employed? Why you haven't been working?
No, I'm unemployed.
You're not employed?
No.
You are employed?
I'm in between jobs.
Are you?
Yes. So I'll probably have to have a week off until everything opens up again, so I can start at with a lockdown.
Oh, are you not allowed to work at the moment?
If I had a small building site to go to, I'd be able to work.
Okay.
Or if I had a house where no one's living in it, I could go to. But no, I don't, because the jobs I have coming up, they're people's houses and they're in the houses, so I can't do them while they're in the house.
Okay.
With the restrictions we have going at the moment, which is bizarre.
Yes. Well, look, it's the world we live in, and we are fortunate here in Melbourne, or here in Australia for that matter, but certainly if you live in Queensland or any other place other than Victoria, you're doing pretty well. Yep. But we're getting closer, G. We're getting closer.
Slowly. So let's fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. So I think we've, as a population of 5.3 million people. To have 11 today, 11 yesterday, 9, 7, whatever. I think we've done very well to bring it down from what was at top of 800 and something, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, I think so. At its worst,
so, yes.
And on a nice segue into what's currently happening in the NFL at the moment. Because we had a messy week last week, and it's fair to say that fantasy leagues were thrown for a bit of a curveball, although in the end it turned out okay. I mean, obviously we had Tennessee and Pittsburgh who were forced to take a week 4 bye. That's not desirable, obviously. Week 4, it's very early in the season. But what are you going to do? At least the NFL has got a built-in mechanism with the buys.
Put a muzzle on that dog, maybe.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's not going to be a feature of the pod. But anyway, we'll see. So, there's that, right? But now, obviously, we've got fresh positives out of Titans, which doesn't bode well. I mean, they've already had their bye. Now, they're due to play who? The Bills. Bills this week.
Yes, it is the Bills, yes. I believe. So the game's been pushed back to Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes.
So let's just wait and see. Like, what do you do if the game doesn't go ahead?
Ooh.
Like, what happens with the Titans? Do you keep as I was on a podcast this morning, this is what I do when you're not looking. I
cheating on me.
I cheated on you. I was on this morning with Kyle from what used to be the FF fellas, and now he's got the SmackDown Fantasy Football SmackDown pod. And he's on there with Bob from the Word on the Streets.
Yes.
3-Toe Warrior. And as I said to them, I said, well, how far can you kick the can down the street before it becomes unmanageable?
Oh, I know. That's right. Exactly. I mean, they could make an extra week. There was some talk of them having an extra week the end of the season to make up games.
And how does that work for fantasy people?
It doesn't.
Like a week? No. That was discussed today, like week 18.
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
And for the owners of Tennessee Titans, especially people that probably have fair shares in Derrick Henry, it's not helping you at all.
Not to mention, I mean, look, AJ Brown hasn't been a fantasy factor yet, but I mean, you've got AJ Brown, you've got Jonnu Smith, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, So all sorts of there's a bit of shenanigans going on here.
You got someone's carrying a dog.
Someone's carrying a dog.
Yeah.
That is a big question. I mean, with the NFL having opened up now, why is that more interesting than me, G?
I just wondering. I know which one of your daughters is it?
That's my youngest daughter. That's Emily.
Yeah, Emily. She's putting the dog on not my fresh paintwork, but on my good paintwork of the windowsill that I did for her. I'm just watching.
Oh, don't talk to me about the dog and paintwork.
I don't.
Man, we're gonna have to get
chewer.
you back here.
Have you got a chewer? Not good.
No,
Chewers
not a
aren't
chewer,
good,
a
mate.
scratcher.
Oh. Well, that's not good. On the doors.
Good. Yes,
Mate, they can destroy a dog. Like I know from personal experience that my kids went out one day and left the dog inside the house, not realising dog. And the dog knows that, oh, my God, I need to shit, I need to pee, and I know if I do it inside, Dad's going to kick my ass.
Yeah.
Mate, so trying to get out, she destroyed 2 French doors. I mean, she scratched the wood off all the way down to the glass.
Oof.
Destroyed. They were just destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And let alone trying to get out a few other windows as well on the way through. No. And then she's still shit inside anyway. So she just shat inside and I wouldn't have been mad because you're stuck. But this is what happens when you have pets.
Oh,
and kids.
And kids.
And kids.
That's right.
So
anyway,
the game,
if they had a week, there was some discussion of them. Well, I had heard, and this may still happen, I guess, that there might be a penalty against the Titans. I had heard them talking about a forfeit.
So okay, because you haven't managed the COVID within.
Correct.
Now, look, am I understanding that there's protocols in place? Of course, there'd be protocols when you leave the facility.
Mm-hmm.
What you can do in and out of the facility, with outside the facility mainly, but. Are they? They're going back to their own homes, aren't they? Is that the understanding? They're not all going and staying in a hotel together.
No,
they're not in. No, so
no.
So I understand. Once you're in the facility, you have all the protocols, and then once you're in there, you're only dealing with everybody that's been tested or whatever. But it's going to be very hard to, hey Dave. To stop people from coming in contact with other people. Would you just lock yourself up for, 18 weeks, 17 weeks, 20 weeks, go into playoffs and whatnot? We're talking more from a fantasy point of view. But, some of these, they've got kids. Are they going to school? I don't know what the school, how it is. Some kids are at school in America, some kids aren't. I'm not too sure. I know our kids, some kids are back now. But we don't have the numbers like they do. There's a lot of testosterone floating around the NFL, a lot of single guys. And we've already seen what happened in the AFL. One guy smuggling his girlfriend in, other guys in strip clubs, getting in fights at dodgy, bloody souvlaki bars. Well done to my team. But we've seen that, it's okay at the start. I can understand you can keep a grip on things or a handle on things, a lid or whatever for only so long before people start to go, man, I just need an outlet.
Yes. Yeah.
And it only takes one player come across. We always know that you can walk in and have it and test negative, and all of a sudden then you test 2 days later and so boom, you're positive.
Yes.
We've seen that, a place called the White House in the States.
Ooh, let's not go there. I mean, you could argue that there's very little.
NFL teams have more protocol than they do.
Yes. But look, obviously with the size of NFL teams, bubbles are out of the question. But there's no reason why you couldn't just put players into team hotels, isolate them in that way, just make it like a prolonged training camp. I mean, I would argue, people will say, oh, they got to see their families and stuff. And I would argue these guys get paid enough compensation that, it's no big deal. I mean, you're just going to be away from them for a few months. That's all. And it's not like you can't Zoom chat with them or FaceTime or whatever.
I'm sure you could even possibly bring your families. I think we've done that in the AFL, haven't we? Had families come along and stay, but everybody has to stay within the bubble.
Yes.
The good thing here is that we have states where it's so low that the chance of you run into somebody with it are just mate. It's more chance of winning tats.
Yeah. Yes.
Winning the lotto. But over there, it's rampant.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Here we go. Seattle undrafted Freds player smuggling a girl dressed in Seahawk. Well, there you go. Eh? Was she dressed as a player? Because usually players aren't walk around after games in the whole get-up.
That'd be easy in helmet and pads and everything, just like so you can't basically see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does create some big question marks, and I wonder if this is the reason why. Because look, we know Roger Goodell and the owners. This is a business.
It is.
And the NFL is big business, obviously, and gambling is also big.
Multi-billion-dollar industry, mate.
Correct. So at the end of the day, moving games out of the schedule is something that's not going to be viewed very favorably by Vegas.
No. You're not affecting any fans, though. That's one bonus. I
guess. Hey, Ganley. How you doing?
Yeah, unemployed life's good. Thanks, mate, for reminding me.
Dave says, yes, the team tracksuit. This is in preseason. Aha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Geez, they haven't even got to the season. They haven't been, put away in shackles. Oh, I shouldn't say that, should I? You know what I mean, though. They haven't been locked up or anything yet, and they're smoggling them in already. That was preseason.
I have to get my symbols. Hang on. The Bears Ben is just letting us. The Bears smuggled in Mitch Trubisky dressed as a player. Boom.
Mate, I actually stuck up for Mitch Trubisky today on the pod I was on with Kyle and Bob, in the fact that if you watch Foles last week, mate, I actually said you actually want Mitch Trubisky to start on what I saw of Foles last week. Okay, they won today, and I watched a bit of the game, and he was a lot better.
Foles was all right.
He was all right.
He wasn't brilliant, was he?
No. Well, look, you're going to face it. The Bears aren't going anywhere.
He was
until they get a quarterback.
They're 4-1, aren't they?
Mate, but I thought they were a bit of a lucky 3-0, and then they lost. Today was mate. Their defense is doing a great job.
Yes. No. Fair enough. He was accurate.
He wasn't accurate last week. If you saw last week, he wasn't at all. And that's because he didn't have the preseason with everybody, obviously. That was in the hands of Trubisky. So all he has to be is competent.
Yep. That's very true. Well, look, the record is what the record is.
It is.
Tom Brady, it can be said, really likes Mike Evans. But then again, there were not many other wide receivers in the game on the Bucs side.
No, Chris Godwin out is really hurting them.
Yes, absolutely.
That's pointing out the blatantly obvious.
And OJ Howard, of course. Cameron Brate got a bit of ball as well. And Leonard Fournette, I think, was active. Was he? I think he was.
I believe he was.
I didn't really see him on the park.
Just leave it in the hands of Rojo. He's doing fine.
Rojo looked good. So we had the Bears win today. Obviously, we've got the games being moved around. We've got the knock-on effect of the so it's the now I'm getting confused between the games that have been moved around. So because who are the Titans playing again? They're playing
Research would be good. Bit of homework before you come on.
It's just gone out of my head. Who are the Titans playing?
That's why you write it down.
We were just talking about it.
I know. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not helping you with this. I'm leaving this in your hands.
They're playing the Bills. There you go.
You run this show.
Oh.
Did someone just speak to you? The producer just in your ear?
Yeah,
AJ,
that's right. That's
the
right.
Bills.
I'm
idiot.
distracted by this Tigers Saints score. Third quarter has just started.
Don't look at it, mate.
Saints
Don't
are
look at
down
it.
by 5 goals.
Yeah, it's not good for you.
Yeah, and the Bills game has been moved because they've gone out to Tuesday. That means the Bills game, I think they were due to play the Thursday night game, maybe. And that's been moved to Saturday.
Of week 6.
Yes.
Well, this is what's going to happen, and we're just going to have to work the way around it. It could be we could have something every week.
Yeah,
let's hope
every week.
Let's hope not.
Now, it's only a small thing, but what this does do is it kind of does mess with fantasy leagues and waiver wires. Because if the week is extending out till the Tuesday night now, so that's now Wednesday for us.
That, mate, I feel sorry for commissioners, and guess what? I don't commission one. You've got a lot of work on your hands. You've got a lot of work.
That's going to be a bit of a just an administrative nightmare, just rescheduling waiver wires, because you couldn't do the waiver wire so fast. I think you have to push the waiver wire out a bit, but anyway.
Yeah, there's going to be a look. Hopefully, that in leagues, people are giving the commissioners a little bit of leeway and a little bit of support with the way that he's going to run it this year. But hopefully, everybody has the IR designations and COVID probably all mixed in. Hopefully, they've made the amount of people you can put on IR expanded it, yeah, to cover all that. And if not, mate, it might happen to you. It might happen to somebody else. It's like injuries, just sometimes you just got to cover it.
And okay, G, can I get your 2 cents on this then?
Yes.
Because I think the big issue in fantasy leagues right now is in this circumstance, do you just say bad luck? Okay, so the big issue is if something happens and the round has started. So the round has now started, right? Because Bears yes. and Bucks have played.
Yes.
So the round has started. So now if we have a game cancelled, do you just say bad luck, or do you allow people to have backup players?
But if a game gets cancelled, or if you find out someone's, has been pulled out an hour before the game, you just swap in a bench player.
Yep.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, but okay. So let's say
because your teams aren't set. Yeah, you only set the players that are playing on the given day.
All right, because let me give you this scenario because this is similar to what we had last week, and that is with Titans and Bills being pushed out to the last game of the week.
Yes.
If it gets to that point and there's a couple more Titan positives,
and the game doesn't go ahead,
we'll cancel the game. Yes.
Okay. So then, what happens to the players that were going to play?
Exactly.
But okay, so what do you do? Do you go, okay, can I pick the next best player off that's on my bench spot and put him in that slot? Well, you can't do that.
Do you just say bad luck?
It's just bad luck.
Do you just have to factor in?
You could have a player run onto the ground and he's running out there and he's high-fiving everybody and pulls a hamstring and that's it. The game hasn't started yet and he's done his hammy.
Yep.
So
that can definitely happen.
Yeah, I think unfortunately you probably know that the game's been pushed back because of that. So you're taking a risk that the game's going to go ahead. So you probably already know that. So that's up to you. You can either run the risk of playing those players where the game might not go ahead, or you can put in guys of games that okay, obviously not as good as players, because you want to start the other guys, but you're going to get some points.
Yes.
And if they go ahead and they play the game, well, that's a decision you make. Like you make a decision every week on who you put in, your starting lineup compared to who you leave, on your bench.
Yes. Well, listen, let's get into our preview, G. Okay. Let's get into the business of the preview. So last week we pitched for the last 2 weeks we were looking at flex guys, like guys outside the top 12 or 24 that you could bring into the lineup.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
This week, we're going to go for something a little bit different. We're going to go the opposite.
Each week, we're going to do a team-based lineup of some form.
Yes.
Because no one wants to listen to us for fantasy advice. They get that from everybody. Mate, there's like I said, there's 20,000 people doing podcasts about fantasy football, far better qualified than we are. So we're just going to have some fun with it this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, again, we're using the 0.5 PPR rankings at Fantasy Pros. We're going to look at the top 12 quarterbacks, top 24 running backs, top 24 wide receivers, top 12 tight ends, and we're looking at the lowest scoring players. So essentially we're saying who doesn't deserve to be in that top 12/24.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Who's going to be the worst performing out of those skill positions?
Correct. Yes. Now
So
you may
what
not
we're
have much of an option, but
no. Well, last week we were aiming for the highest score.
Yes.
Out of the players outside. This week we want like your lowest score you can possibly get.
Yes.
And then what we'll do with everybody that put in last week and people that will send us their teams this week, we'll combine the two.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how we go. I didn't want to put them out this week. One, because I didn't get them off you, so I didn't do it. But two, mate, if you don't know what your score is, sometimes you can play it safe.
Yes. Yeah. Dave says anyone on the Jets. Well, Dave, they have to be in the top 24 already,
mate.
And
actually, I don't think have the Jets got anybody in the top. I don't think they have.
I don't think so.
24.
Is Crowder in the top 24 wide receivers?
Oh, he might. Let me just look that up. Maybe.
He would be the only one, wouldn't he?
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. I actually, when I was on the podcast today, I said, when people outs, they wanted, sits and starts. I said, can you sit the whole of the Jets offense except for Crowder? Is that, can we do that?
Okay, anyone on Jacksonville? Well, okay. What about James Robinson? That guy is on fire.
Yeah,
I don't think you could.
Dave's getting a little bit cocky now because OBJ had a big week last week.
And DJ Shark. Ooh.
DJ Shark.
Despite everything, he looks good. And Minshew's not bad. Minshew's not bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the quarterbacks. So give me your quarterback this week, AJ, that you think's in the top 12 starters that's going to have the worst performing week.
Okay. Actually, I should tell you where he is. I'm just looking at my list, sorry. Because I didn't write down which one he was. Ooh. Oh, he's at 12. So this might be cheating. But it's hard.
That's right. Neil, I think Neil picked everybody that was just on the verge last
12
week.
or 24. Yeah. Well, to be honest, very hard to pick a top 6 quarterback and say they're going to be the lowest scoring quarterback of the week. But I went with Kirk Cousins, Minnesota at Seattle. And that Seattle crowd, it's loud. That is a loud place to. Oh, whoops, no one there.
It's still a scary place. Still scary to go.
Scary seats.
So what's the decibel? What's the decibel? There's a decibel level.
70 decibels.
Is it 70? Is it?
Yeah, it's capped at 70. Which
capped at 70.
That's for Seattle. They'd be pissed because it's like 70 decibels. Man, we get that when we have like 1,000 people.
Yeah. That ain't setting off any Richter scales, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Now, Cousins obviously led the Vikings to win week 4, but he's not the focus of that attack. Dalvin Cook had 130 on the ground and 2 scores. Cousins only had 22 pass attempts. He did have 260 yards and a touchdown, but, that's for a top 12 quarterback, 260 and 1 touchdown is not terrific. The Seattle D, they're missing Jamal Adams at the moment, which is a big loss, but the Seattle D is decent. So, I think it's going to be reasonably tough sledding for Cousins, and also just because, they're obviously fairly focused on the run as well as a team.
Well, the Seahawks against the run have been fantastic. So it puts more pressure on Dalvin Cook.
Yes.
Which if Dalvin Cook can't get going, and mate, he's been on fire at the start of the season without doubt. But if he can't get going, that puts a hell of a lot more pressure on Cousins.
Well, that's true. Well, that is
and we know Seattle are going to put up a score. Mate, look what Russell Wilson's doing.
Oof.
He's doing it at will at the moment. And you've got the receivers. Okay, Lockett had a quiet week last week. He came off the 3 touchdowns the week prior to that. Metcalf is scoring one every week. Carson's running well.
Yep.
If they had a tight end, Greg Olsen, I know, but pretty much unstoppable.
Can I just say, how? Okay, sorry, this is a bit off topic, but
that's what we do here.
Yes, how you might say Alexander Mattison is a good pickup because if Dalvin Cook gets hurt,
yes,
then Mattison instantly is an RB1, right?
Oh, is he an RB1? Well, he's going to get a lot. He's going to get a lot of work anyway. Let's see how. Yep.
Yes. So, I would make a similar argument for perhaps Will Disley and also David Moore.
I don't know what's going on with Will Disley. I picked Will Disley as like a last pick in a few drafts, thinking I'll just stick him there. But he's just, I don't know. It's just how did he go last week? To be honest, I don't think he did anything last week. Did he?
Disley?
Yeah.
No, because Olsen's there. I mean,
yeah. But I'm thinking like when Disley has been healthy.
Yes.
He's been very good for Seattle. The only problem is he hasn't been healthy enough.
Yeah, true. Anyway, I was just thinking in terms of in a year when anything can happen, and you think of guys like, look, Tyler Lockett's had he gets dinged up, and Metcalf could easily get dinged up. Then all of a sudden there are guys that could have amazing value in what is an incredibly high-powered offense. Yeah,
like Moore's the perfect example, really, of a high floor basement. A high ceiling basement floor type guy.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Some people might have the basement in the ceiling, but there you go.
Yes. A couple of people are sort of calling BS on my call here, but that's all right. Andrew's saying Seahawks giving up 476.8 yards per game. Not sure that's decent.
I think they're the worst against wide receivers. I know that.
Ben, Seahawks have conceded the second most points to quarterbacks so far. Look, maybe it's more a statement about Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota offense than Seahawks defense.
Mate, let's be fair. Kirk Cousins didn't realize he had a second wide receiver until Jefferson started doing a little something. He became like a one-read quarterback with Adam Thielen.
And there's no doubt they're missing.
For the first few weeks, it was just so plainly obvious.
There's no doubt they're missing Diggs. There's no doubt at all.
No, without a doubt. And mate, I'm a big rat for Irv Smith. Done absolutely squat.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Andrew, you are totally right. Will Disley last week, 27 snaps, only 2 targets. Look, while Greg Olsen's in there, forget it. But I just think, Greg Olsen goes down, then Disley could be great.
Mate, we've seen Disley do it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like handcuff guys. You kind of just roll the dice, like, your Tony Pollard's, your, Alexander Madison's. Who else is a good handcuffy type running back?
Running back?
Yeah, or actually just any. Well, running back is more commonly what we think of.
Well, there's none at the Falcons. I know that for a fact. Chase Edmonds.
Edmonds. But we'll get to that because I think Chase Edmonds is taking over that backfield. But anyway,
Gus the Bus started the game last week. He had the first 2 carries.
Oh,
Mark
Gus
Ingram
Edmonds
didn't.
Listen. Oh well, we're getting
okay. My quarterback. So my quarterback this week is Matt Ryan. He goes up against the Carolina Panthers. I think Matt Ryan on our list is number 8 in the quarterback rankings. So he goes up against the Panthers, who are 4th against wide receivers.
No Julio.
A banged up Calvin Ridley. Got thigh and knee issues. So without Jones this year, and when Jones went, the 2 games he sort of missed one of them. Well, one, he's only averaged 12.4 fantasy points. It looks like Ridley will be the guy. So if you've got Ridley, play Ridley. But I think overall, Matt Ryan's going to really struggle this week. Then the Carolina Panthers have been terrible against the run, have been far better against the pass, but no one's actually played the deep ball game against the Panthers yet. So it would have helped with Julio being that guy, but Ridley is, I think Ridley at the moment is one of the run more deep routes than Julio has. So we'll see what happens there. But can you really rely on, how do you pronounce his name? Olamide Zach. Can't even pronounce his last name. Zacharies?
Yeah, I think so.
Who 8 for 86 last week. You're going to rely on him to back that up again. So it's just a tough ask, And look, they're going to have big faith because Teddy's looking okay, and our defense is just so plague-ridden with injuries. Anybody can put up a score again. I think Sam Darnold and the Jets could probably put up a decent total against the Falcons' defense at the moment.
Heaven forbid. Gee. Look, he's been disappointing, but the Falcons in general have been disappointing, but I mean, it's the defense more so. I mean, if the Falcons were playing any sort of defense, maybe we'd look at the whole team a little bit differently.
We would. Oh, yeah, it is a shame. And I do believe that I think, was CD Lamb available?
No, he got taken the pick before you. He got taken the pick before you.
After.
Oh, you could have taken him? No, I thought
it
you
would
just
have helped.
Out.
No. Went to the Cowboys.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, the Cowboys were absolute and continued to laugh.
They continue, yeah. Everybody's laughing at playing against their defense, but
because
laugh at the Cowboys.
Russell Gage, CD Lamb, nah. Russell Gage is doing all right though.
Mate, Russell Gage has been great, but
he ain't CD Lamb, dude. He's not.
No, he's not CD Lamb. CD Lamb is fantastic.
Which is, of course. Now, as last week, Andrew, thank you, Andrew, has sent us through some little facts and bits and pieces. I forgot to do it at the top of quarterbacks, but I'll give you some quarterback stats, which might be interesting. Daniel Jones has had Daniel Jones. You've got him on a few squads, G.
I've actually got him on the Scott Fish Bowl team, and he scored me like 2, 3, 4. And I've started him every week, and I'm still 4-0.
I can't believe it. I'm zipping 4.
Well, I'm carrying you again. I carry this show in so many ways.
Oh, yeah. You're not kidding. 889 yards. That's 222 yards per game. 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Yeah, but he had it. But look, he had a hard start to the season. It starts to open up a little bit easy for him now.
Well, losing Saquon's not going to help anyone.
No, it's going to kill you.
Yeah. Playing the Cowboys this week, who are 15th ranked versus quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, you might have heard of him. He's on pace, G. He's making
more and more money out of you, Jerry, every week, dude.
You should have paid the guy. It would have been a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
He's on pace for, get this, 6,760 yards. He's not going to do it. The all-time high is Peyton Manning, 5,477. So whenever you say on pace for, I mean, obviously he's not going to get, but when you think
best case scenario, and that never,
the all-time high is like 1,200 less. See, man, I think he's got a shot. Clearly, he's got a shot.
Is he going to do it? Possibly. I think he's going to catch Peyton Manning, that's for sure.
Way to give Jerry Jones a heart attack.
Oh,
Score the most yards of all time.
Mate, Jerry's going to have to get rid of a few skidoos and a bit of furniture on his yacht to pay for the extra that Dak's going to be asking for.
Just furniture on his yacht or one of his yachts?
He's only got one. He only needs one.
Well, that's true. Bloody hell. You see that thing?
It's not a yacht, it's ocean liner.
Joe Flacco. We're going to see him this week. He's starting for the Jets after off-season neck surgery. He's in 8 games last year for Denver. He only averaged 228 yards and less than a TD per game.
So is there something wrong with Sam Darnold? Why is Joe Flacco starting?
He's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's not a benching, he's hurt.
Okay. Because if you're moving from Sam Darnold to Joe Flacco, mate, we already know that Gase shouldn't be coaching.
Yes. I understand. For a minute there, I didn't know what you were talking about, Dave. Dave says he goes back to his preseason prediction. That should be Dak. Dak is going to kill the Cowboys.
He's going to kill them in what way? Like monetary-wise?
Money-wise, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's made Jerry's fault.
Yes.
It's only getting worse.
Andrew brings up a good point. Cowboys defense isn't going to improve. Dak has to keep throwing. They're rotating players through their safety group. They've got no answer in the defensive backfield at all at the moment. So they're struggling. And obviously linebacker, well, in the middle, they've got no linebackers, basically. They've got no defensive backs and no linebackers. So they're hurting. Seriously hurting.
So Daniel Jones is a good start this week. And Darius Slayton should go off this week.
Well, potentially, mate. Evan Ingram. Man, Evan Ingram.
Team. Yep.
Dave
Sterling
says
Shepard wasn't hurt. Oh, damn.
Separated shoulder for
okay.
For
not mono.
Not mono. Yes,
okay.
Sam Darnold.
All right, so who's your first running back?
Hey Neil, how you going?
Hey Neil, how you going, dude? Neil, who didn't understand the tweet I put out today about this, but that's okay. Some people are a little bit slower than others. We'll work with you, Neil. It's okay.
Couple more quick ones. Russell Wilson, who's playing against Minnesota. That's the 4th worst passing defense in the league. We already talked about Kirk Cousins. And Teddy, who's playing the Falcons. And Teddy looked good last week too. So
everywhere's going to look good against the Falcons. And the Cowboys.
Yes. Running back.
Do you want me to give you mine?
Yes.
Okay, number 14. We have Miles Sanders.
Oof, wow, big call.
Against Pittsburgh, who number 2 against running backs, only giving up 15.9 fantasy points. And, mate, this defense is big time at the moment. Mate, they are seriously stalking and running down running backs and quarterbacks. They're only allowing 2.5 yards per carry. And they only allowed 121 yards on the ground and 1 TD in 3 games so far, because they had the bye last week, obviously. And it's not the fact that it's just that Sanders is going up against the Steelers. It's also the fact that Carson Wentz looks, if they had a better backup quarterback, he might not be throwing the rock around the field. He doesn't look that good at all, Carson Wentz. He looks like he has no confidence. It's not the Carson Wentz we want to see.
That receiving core doesn't fill you with confidence, though, G, either.
No, I was going to say, mate, it's the throw on top of the receiving core on top of that, especially our
Goddard's out.
Goddard's out. They just got no receivers. Zach Ertz is just. We'll speak about Zach Ertz in a minute, and you probably find this week that they're going to stack the boxes, and you might even find that Sanders does more blocking than running this week just to help out his quarterback.
Yeah.
So I've got Miles Sanders against this like old school Pittsburgh defense.
Yes. I was muted. Dog's going off. So
Do you want my
Okay.
second one?
I'll give you mine
You give
because
yours.
your second one I think is mine.
Okay.
So let me put it in there. I said Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, that's my second.
At the New York Jets. Now, I think he, at the end of the game, actually dinged his ribs up a little bit. Although I don't think that's really the concern. You can't blame his stats on that. 13 carries for 35 yards. And that was against a Carolina run D that they had previously played Jacobs, Fournette, and Austin Eckler, and each of them had run all over them.
Mate, Carolina have let like 38 touchdown to running backs over the last year and a half. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous.
Wow. And I don't know. It clearly looks like there's a bit of a changing of the guard. Chase Edmonds, while he only had 4 carries for 16 yards, he did have 5 receptions for 24 and a touchdown. So I think it makes Kenyon Drake a risky play. It looks like his target share is decreasing, and it looks like Chase Edmonds is on the up.
Everything's decreasing. Yeah, I have the same thing. Like, Chase Edmonds looks far better running back, even with less opportunities. Like, at the moment, Drake's having 72% of the backfield work.
Yep.
And when Chase Edmonds gets his opportunity, he just looks a better back. And let's not forget, too, that Drake sat out camp because he had his foot in a moon boot. So that hasn't helped his cause this year, but he just doesn't look the same back as we saw that people probably rode him a bit to some championships last year when he came across. And look, in the games he's played this year, the first game he went 60 yards, 1 TD, 86 yards, 73 yards, 35 yards. So it's not the progression of numbers you want to see. You want to see that going up in reverse.
Yep.
You want that in reverse.
Yes.
And we're just not seeing it with Kenyon Drake. And I don't think it'll be that long if this keeps up that they'll realise that as well. And let's face it, the play calling in Arizona this year has been very average at best.
Mm. Yes.
From Mr. I Want to Be Steve McQueen. That's what I'm calling him. Mr. Wannabe Steve McQueen. Sitting in that house on the sidelines, dressed with the shades on and all that. Come on, dude. The football case. He seems like he's a man that's very much into the whole look.
Well, I guess, why not?
Well, Bill's not. Bill's got Bill's got
the hood.
You
Yes,
know?
well, that's true. That's true.
It's not about what you wear, mate. It's about what
yes.
you bring up here.
Yeah, very true.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did quickly jot down a second one, and that was David Johnson, who obviously the big news in the week, and we didn't sort of cover it, but it's it's probably been done to death. But Bill O'Brien, gone.
You gone.
He gone. The first one. He's the first.
Who's next?
Hey, I wonder did any of us say he would be the first one gone?
Ooh.
Might have been me. Might have been me, G. And I think because I remember you saying, will he fire himself?
I actually thought it'd be Gase. I'm surprised Gase hasn't gone yet.
Oh, it's a minor miracle that Gase hasn't gone, to be honest.
Yeah. And look, Quinn's not going to be far behind them, to be honest.
But Bill O'Brien out the door, and I guess the great shame. It's sort of like this is just what happens, isn't it? When head coaches, especially coaches who have got sort of that /GM responsibility, come into organizations and rip them apart, and then they're gone.
Oh, mate, when you do it and you fail like he has, mate,
yes.
he knows he's gone.
Yes. Then the organization just takes, it takes years to recover.
Mate, I don't think they haven't got a first or second round pick next year. So good luck to the new coach and GM that walk into that room. Good luck. Good luck.
That's right.
You're already fighting with not just one hand tied behind your back, but two.
Yes.
You know? Hope they can headbutt well.
Yeah, Dave says major travesty, not miracle, AJ, for Adam Gase. Yeah, I don't know how Gase has held on to his job. It's
No.
a few
Wide receivers. Oh, sorry,
few quick running back stats. I'll be fast. James Robinson playing the Texans. Speaking of, who gave up 181 yards rushing. They played 52 snaps last week. He played 52 snaps to Chris Thompson 16. Thompson also got 0 targets to Robinson's 4. No, Chris Thompson's not fantasy relevant.
No. Mate, I don't think he'd be fantasy relevant if Robinson wasn't there.
No. Kareem Hunt, the lead back with Chubb out, although there is some news that Hunt might be dinged up.
Ooh.
Yes.
So, what do you say?
Practice. I think he's limited at practice.
Okay.
But you can call BS if you wonder that. I think I saw that. They're playing the Colts, though, who've got the best defense in the NFL through 4 weeks. They look fantastic. Although, in fairness, they're missing Darius Leonard this week.
Yes, I was watching the game during the week, and you see him. But is it an ankle? Was it something like that? It didn't seem to be a hamstring. It seemed to be more of an ankle problem because I saw it happen. I've gone, oh. And then I watched a couple of plays and he wasn't, I think they were both possibly pass plays. So the ball sailed over his head, but he thought, he started running around and he was seriously limping.
Right.
It just looked like an ankle. I don't know what the diagnosis is, but just, Dr. Greg at it. Leave it with me.
That's right. Dave says Jack Easterby to make a major power push at Houston. I don't know who Jack Easterby is, to be honest. Do you, G?
Make it a power push. As in what way? As in,
I guess for head
owning
or GM or something. I suppose
he's not going to buy it, is he? He's not some billionaire we don't know about.
Don't know. David.
Okay.
Ezekiel Elliott up against the Giants. The Giants are the 4th best defense through 4 weeks. However, they're giving up 24 points per game. James White has returned 40 snaps last week, 14 more than Burkhead, and 8 targets in his return. Dave just says he's a GM.
Okay.
And Neil said he's the assistant GM. Okay, so James White, the only reservation I have, obviously you got Damian Harris, who's been activated by IR. Sony Michel's gone to IR now. That whole New England backfield, though, is just so hard to predict. Like, it's very difficult to know who's going to. James White has always been sort of sneaky good value, though, hasn't he?
James, he's always been like the guy to own. You can. His floor is always there each week, just because of all the pass catching that he does.
Yeah, and Neil does make a good point here. The Pats will need to run if Cam doesn't play, and I don't think Cam's going to play because I think you have to have 2 negative tests within a couple of days' space of each other in order to clear. So I don't think he's got the time to do that, basically. Okay. So shall we go to... Okay. Really? I've heard it. I now know who you're talking about. Yeah. Good luck if you want to put the power in his hands. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's go to wide receiver, and I might just read a few of the wide receiver.
Might be a lot more of this going on.
Adam Thielen up against Seattle. Jamal Adams is still out. Thielen is the only game in town for the Vikings. Amari Cooper, the most targeted receiver through 4 games, 12.8 times per game.
Well, mate, it had to be a Cowboys with the amount of balls that Dak's throwing around the park.
Yes. AJ Brown is expected to make his return to the field, or his debut, I should say. I don't think he's played a snap yet.
Yes, he played week 1.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he played week 1. Anyway, so he's expected to play against Buffalo. Corey Davis is out due to COVID. So as long as AJ Brown is healthy, and as long as the game actually happens, then AJ Brown could get a bit of action in that game. DJ Shark returned for week 4.
And what a difference does he make to that offense? Straight away. Boom.
9 targets, 8 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tim Patrick, who's on a lot of waiver wires, 5 targets per game, touchdowns the last 2 weeks, leads the snap count for the Broncos wide receivers. He's currently the 58th wide receiver on Fantasy Pros.
Someone
as long
like
as Noah Fanta's out,
yeah,
I think then he's a possibility. Obviously, Cortland Sutton's out for the year.
Yes. Well, someone like Tim Patrick, he sits on waivers because no one wants to go and pick him up and put him in the lineup, and then he's had his good weeks and that's it, and you've missed them.
Right.
When I look at him, I go, oh, do I go, no, on my luck, he'll lay an egg.
Yes.
Like his good weeks are gone. I should have jumped on the first week. There's those guys that are on waiver wires and they will sit there and they'll have a big week and they will stay there because no one wants to be the sucker that goes and picks them up and puts them in the starting lineup. Yeah. Even though we'll get another 5 weeks down and he's scored another 4 touchdowns in 5 weeks.
Yeah. Yes.
So we want some wide receivers.
We want some wide receivers.
Okay, so at number 15, I've got scary Terry McLaurin this week up against LA Rams, who are ranked 12th amongst WRs.
You don't like Kyle Allen? You're Kyle Allenist.
Mate, can I get to, the punchline? Yes, no. God, you've told the start of the joke, the end of the joke at the start. Like he's coming off 118 yards last week against a very good Ravens defense, but he's going into the weekend with a thigh issue as well. I think he missed Thursday, but was back on the track. Missed Wednesday, was back on the track on Thursday. However, this week he goes up against Jalen Ramsey, so we'll see how he goes this week. And I think Jalen Ramsey will be mirroring him this week. But however, Jalen Ramsey has allowed 636 yards and 4 TDs when he's been a shutdown corner.
Oof.
This year, however, he has been up against Amari Cooper, Darius Slayton, and Stefan Diggs and held them to a total of 178 yards and 1 touchdown.
Really? Wow.
And then on top of that, as you said, we have Kyle Allen starting this week at QB over Haskins. And let's face it, there's a lot more chemistry between Haskins and McLaurin because of the college play together and the years they've spent together so far, the games have played together in the NFL. So is the chemistry going to be there? I think Kyle Allen's smart enough to know who the best receiver on the team is, but there is that sort of be in the right spot at the right time, and the quarterback knows you're going to be there.
Ironically, Haskins, I think, had his best game of the season last week. I don't think he had did he have a touch? I don't think he had a touchdown, but he was pretty accurate, and he threw a reasonable number of yards.
Which is quite surprising. This is again when owners, coaches, GM, whoever it may be, when they say, as Ron Rivera said, that no, we're going to roll with him. He's a young quarterback. We had the same issues with Cam Newton, which is bullshit because Cam Newton started like a house on fire.
Oh, he's rookie year. Oof.
But no, he's, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And 1 week later, he's done.
He's done.
Mate, it's the worst thing in the world to say that you're safe. For someone above you to say, yep, you're safe, is the death nail. Not the first death nail, it is the final nail in your coffin.
Well, the reality is, if someone has to say that you're safe, then someone is asking the question about your performance, aren't they?
Well, it's usually journalists. And possibly someone higher up's asking, but what are we doing with this Dwayne Haskins guy? He's killing us. He's turning this franchise backwards. Yeah, okay. At Washington. Yeah, it's going backwards because of Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, there we go. Andrew's giving me the stat. 32 from 45 for 314 yards. There you go. No touchdowns or interceptions, but also you've got to say, what is that Redskins offense like? It's not like they've got a lot of talent. I mean, obviously Terry McLaurin is the most talented player on that offense.
Yep. And we lost Geis because of his own stupidity.
I mean, Antonio Gibson coming up.
Idiot. Yep.
But who else?
That's it.
I mean, honestly, Steven
No
Simmons.
one. No.
Is he the second receiver?
No. He is the second receiver, but, and a 29-year-old ex-quarterback tight end.
That's right. So, in a way, can you blame Haskins? Can you?
No.
In a way, you can't.
No. Okay, so who's the other wide receiver?
We may never know. Wide receiver. Okay, I put in OBJ.
Ooh.
I'd be brave because he had a big week last week. I don't know if you noticed. But
did you watch it?
The Browns are playing the Colts, and we already talked about the Colts D. And I actually think that the soft spot in the Colts D this week is going to be in the middle because of Darius Leonard. I think it probably means that we're going to see a bit of a Landry / Hooper day. Although, mind you, Harrison Bryant, maybe. Bryant?
David Njoku's off IR, is he? Did he train this week?
Yep.
So, hey, if he's on your waivers, go and pick him up before people realise because he still have IR designation probably next to his name.
Yes, probably. Dave sent a really big thing here. Hang on. So clearly Haskins, like last year, isn't working hard enough and doesn't understand the playbook.
I think that's for a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably.
Mate, he might not. He just might not be the brightest spark.
Yes. Yep.
Might just have to give him more time.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, I agree with you. So I'm not too sure about Hooper because if you look at Indy against tight ends, I think they've only allowed 70 yards, no TDs to tight ends this year in total, not just one game, in total.
Yes.
And if you watch them play, mate, they're everywhere. The linebackers are very good at covering, at covering tight ends, especially.
Yeah.
So it might be Jarvis Landry. Yeah, I hope so. I've got him in a stack of teams.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So my other wide receiver, I've got Devontae Parker, who's at number 20, and I'm starting to pick the lower fruit off this tree. And he's in San Francisco this week, and we could see the return of Richard Sherman. So far, Fitz has been magic to start the season, but there's always that feeling of tragic just around the corner, isn't there? And every week that he plays well, it's just that 1 week closer of it being tragic.
It's like Russian.
So, look, he put up 110 yards last week, 21 fantasy points up against the worst pass defense in the league. This week he goes up against the 8th ranked best ranking defense to wide receivers. Only allowed 2 TDs on the year so far. And his 2 worst games this year have both been away starts. And this is an away start in San Francisco. Where they play? Santa Clara? Is that correct? Santa Clara?
Yes.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, his 2 worst starts have been 8.7 fantasy points against New England and 11.9 against Jacksonville. So, he might give you something, but I don't think he's going to give you enough to keep you inside the top 24 receivers this week. He was limited in practice too this week, which for the old Parker would have been a sign that, oh, my God, he's not going to play. Yep. He never really played through the injury, pushed himself. A little bit different this year, though. So.
Yes. Yep. All right. Good stuff. Let's go to tight end. And I'll hit you with a few tight end stats quickly. Chris Herndon. Only Jets tight end to receive a target. However, he dropped to 3 targets last week. averaging 18.5 yards per game and is yet to have a touchdown. Yeah, he's been pretty disappointing.
I was expecting big things from Herndon. I went and got him. No one cares about your fantasy league, Greg, but I went and picked him up in a stack of. Well, I already own him, but in redraft league, as a second tight end, thinking this is not a bad second tight end to have.
Yep,
hasn't worked out at all.
And it sort of goes to show that
this could change this week, maybe with Joe Flacco.
Well, look, it goes to show that tight end sometimes. Maybe you can say this for all. No, I don't know if you can say it for all positions. I sort of feel like tight end is a bit of a position where you can kind of grab one when the season begins. There's usually waiver wire guys. If you think of Mo Alley-Cox, another guy, Dalton Schultz, he's 6th in receiving yards for tight ends. I mean, a tight end in the Dallas offense, woo!
Yes.
So, no problem. Here we go. Andrew's got Indy tight ends. Doyle, Burton, and Alley-Cox are splitting snaps. Burton had the most targets, but it appears to be a 3-way split. And I think last week it was not targets, but I think routes run was 17, 12, and 7. Mo Alley-Cox coming last, Burton at the top of that list. Okay,
which is really strange to me. And Mo Alley-Cox looks the goods.
Yes,
like he would have had 2 touchdowns last week if the ball was like 2 inches higher.
Right.
Like I think in between the 20s, you're probably looking at Doyle and Burton, but get inside the 20.
Yep.
And I can tell you that Rivers is looking for Mo Alley-Cox. And it's quite weird that they got down there a few times, and I noticed that Mo Alley-Cox wasn't even on the park.
Yep, that's strange.
So, I don't understand it.
Because I think if Rivers kind of blinks his eyes really fast, he sees Antonio Gates.
He does.
I think it is
a young, quicker.
It's my boy.
It's my boy.
That's right.
He's back.
Yeah. Tyler Eifert, 5 targets and 40+ snaps per game the last 3 weeks in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Higbee.
Not touching Tyler Eifert ever for other reasons outside of football.
Yes. Tyler Higbee taking out his 3-touchdown game. He averages 33 yards and no touchdowns in the other 3 games this season. Andrew, you know what G feels about like take out this thing.
You can't do that because it happened.
It happened. Now my tight end G this week to take out of the top 12, and again I think it's low hanging fruit. I think he might be number 12 or close to it. He's close to it anyway, and that's Mike Gesicki.
Number 10.
Oh, he's number 10. Okay,
yep.
I'm kind of in ways banking on a Fitz tragic. I mean, it's going to happen. We've got one bullet in the well, no more than one bullet. We've got 3 bullets in the chamber, and every week we just go click, click.
It's Russian roulette. It is. We're going to change it from Fitzmagic to something to do with Russian roulette with him.
2 weeks ago, he had this is against the Bills, 130 yards and a touchdown. But since then, in 2 games, he's caught 2 passes.
Yep.
So Fitzmagic's not necessarily looking for him either.
It seems that it's going to be a bit of a hit and miss
with Gesicki.
With Gesicki, yeah. And look, he goes up against the 49ers this week, who've been lights out against, and we know what the linebackers there are like. They cover the field very quickly.
Look,
and they haven't given up any more than 22 yards to a tight end this year.
No, I really like Gesicki, but it might be maybe you put him on ice till Tua comes along.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the whole landscape will change. I think he's very talented, but it's just a little bit hit and miss at the moment.
Well, especially like even last week, Derham Smythe was better. Like I think he had one more target and twice as many yards.
Yeah, that's right. Who have you got at tight end, G?
I had Mike Gesicki.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
I had him, mate. Yeah, without a doubt.
All right.
Yeah, that is low hanging fruit. Nothing there. It's almost you're picking it off the ground. It's that low. It's fallen from the tree. Actually, you probably find that the whoever's at 11 and 12 is a far better chance than Mike Zeki, who's at 10.
Yep.
So
speaking of waiver wire tight ends, G, we were talking about Dalton Schultz. Robert Tonyan last week.
woo,
3
he's
touchdowns.
He's gone, mate. I've been across it all, mate. Gone. Not available anywhere.
No, you're not getting him now anywhere.
No.
And it could well be,
He's now,
especially with Lazard out.
You could trade him for a first-round pick now.
Do you reckon?
Oh, no.
Surely not.
No, I'm joking. Sarcasm.
Okay, you're joking.
Because you're Australian, not even getting sarcasm.
But he's done it 3 weeks in a row, G.
He has. Yeah, mate, well, look at the quarterback he's got going with him at the moment.
Yes, and
we've had Devontae Adams not playing.
Yes. And Lazard's out for a while.
We've got Lazard who's out with a core muscle surgery. We've had Valdez Scanlon that only catches 50% of the balls. Like the 50% that he catches are great. But every second ball you're dropping, it's not really, instilling a great deal of confidence from Aaron Rodgers.
And what's the number one quality that Aaron Rodgers likes in his receivers?
That's the damn ball when I throw it to you.
Yes.
Trust.
Reliability. Yeah,
Yes.
trust. Yep. And so maybe Tonyan has Rodgers' trust, and that's a big thing, G.
Well, we saw Sternberger, he dropped his first 2 or 3 balls this year straight away, like boom, down.
Rodgers has crossed his name and address out of his black book. That's it.
Schultz on the Cowboys, where is he on the list? I can tell you right now, Dave, he's not in the top 12. So he doesn't make it in. I don't know why Dave brought that up.
Are you serious? Hang on, let me have a look.
Oh, no, I'm having a look now. So you keep talking.
He must be. He's number 7.
He's number 7.
Yeah, he's 7.
Damn. Who saw that at the start of the year? That's just what you're talking about, isn't it?
Well, 7 for this week is what I'm saying.
Oh, for this week, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think Andrew said he was number 6 overall. Yeah.
No, he's not number 6. I'll tell you what he is. I'm pretty sure. Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews, Waller, Henry, Ertz, Schultz at 7.
7.
Higbee, Ingram, Hurts, Jazeki at 11.
Now it starts getting a bit fuzzy.
This must be standard scoring.
Right.
And
Kittle had a
then
big week too. Ooh.
Then Smith.
Yes.
Mate, didn't they have like 179 yards passing and 178 went to George Kittle?
Who really?
Yeah, something like that.
And the Niners,
no, it was 200 and whatever it was, 240, whatever. But he had like close to 180 yards on his own, 170 yards on his own.
I mean, the Niners even benched Mullins and they went to Bethard.
Yes.
So what are they doing this week? Are they going back to Mullins? Do you know?
No, he can't.
Or is Garoppolo in? How far is Garoppolo?
No, I have no idea. I don't think so. I think they'll probably be starting. They can't start Mullins after last week. You have to give Bethard to go, wouldn't you?
Oof, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
We're at the 22.5-minute mark in the fourth quarter here, G, and the Tigers are up to 31 points.
Just is cruising now.
So it's pretty close now. It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Saints are going to make a run.
5 goals?
Make a run.
What's that, 5 goals? Yes.
Yes.
Just a little.
But, here, the Tigers are 12-8, so that's 20 scoring shots. The Saints are 6-13. That's 19 scoring shots. Well,
that could be because you're bad and because there's a lot of pressure in the back line as well.
Yeah, true.
So, there you go, 183. 183. He's only, 60 yards is made up by everybody else. Like, unbelievable.
That's unbelievable.
Okay, do you have a flex, AJ? Because I've got a flex.
GPG's back this week. No, I don't have a flex, so you give me yours.
Okay, my flex this week, I've put, so running backs was a little bit harder. Wide receivers, but I thought I'd go with a position a little bit more of scarcity outside of quarterbacks, obviously, but that's tight end. So I'll put Zach Ertz in there. Up against Pittsburgh this week.
He hasn't looked great. He hasn't looked great.
No, he has. Mate, he looks better when Goddard's there, even though Goddard gets the ball. But it's as though it frees him up.
Yep.
And now everybody's going towards Ertz. All the defense is, leaning towards Ertz's way. And I don't think it's really working for him. He only had nine yards last week against the 49ers D that we already spoke about, how good they've been against tight ends. And now he comes up this week against Pittsburgh, who were just as good.
Yep.
Not as good, but, mate, so close it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Steelers have only allowed 124 yards and 1 TD over the last 3 games. Again, obviously, because they had the bye. The Steelers are ranked 4th in per point per target to tight ends. So I think Ertz is going to have his hands full this week, and given the fact that with the pass rush and what they've been able to do with the way they've been using the blitzes in Pittsburgh, mate, I don't know how much time Wentz is going to have to throw the ball.
And
yes,
Hakeem Butler, converted tight end.
Ooh. Converted tight end or converted to tight end?
Converted to tight end.
Yes.
I don't know when we're going to see him on the field.
Mate, that'd be good for scoring wise in tight end premium leagues.
Sometimes you think, hang on a second, because in what we know about Hakeem Butler and looking at his college tape and stuff,
yes,
you think about him as a tight end, suddenly you think, ooh, hang on a second, it might work, might.
He's got the size, he's got the length.
Yep.
We know that he likes hitting people. He was a great blocker in college.
Mm.
So there's no problems with that. He had no problems blocking for his team.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the fact that you get rid of a guy that can get down. Okay, he doesn't get separation, but you leave someone like Andy Isabella that you have to actually put the ball in his lap on a deep throw because he's not a go up and get the ball type of guy. I don't understand how that works.
There must be something in it because
Christian Kirk.
Yeah,
old T-Rex arms. I don't understand it. There must be something else.
He tried out for the Jets, and he didn't get signed.
Yeah, so I don't know.
If you try out for the Jets, I mean,
maybe he walked in there, tried out, and go, no. Fuck no. I don't need to play football that bad.
Maybe that's it. And the Jets said, "Oh, we didn't sign him."
Yeah, we didn't sign him.
No, we didn't sign him.
Right. But yeah, let's hope we don't. Because I'm looking like a bit of an idiot at the moment with my picks from that season.
Mate, sometimes you just can't bail too early. Think Darren Waller.
I'm holding on to that. 5 years. 5 years.
That's right.
All right.
G. Well, that's
it. It up. Beautiful.
That wasn't too bad. That was fairly succinct.
Yes.
Didn't do too bad.
Only a little bit of butchering of the English language in there, which is
only
great.
A tiny bit. No more than normal.
No.
Well, listen, it's going to be an interesting week going forward, and it probably will be interesting every week of this season. This is just the season we're going to have. And I think you just have to roll with it. I mean, what choice have we got? You roll with it. And I think it's going to be a little bit of, we're already seeing it, but a little bit of like, if you've got a deep bench, maybe you're going to do a bit better.
Yeah, without a doubt. If you really put thought into the guys that were going to sit on your bench, it could pay off. Not that you just go and pick guys willy-nilly.
Yep.
But if there's a bit more thought put into this year, I think you're gonna use more of your bench spot than you've ever used.
Yeah, and with that in mind too, I think it's probably realistic. This is a whole different topic, so I'll just make it quick. But I was going to say, it's probably fair to say if you look at a team you've got, and if you're not actually competing, or like you're on the fringe and you don't think you can really get there, then it's probably a good year to just kind of deal assets and just stock up draft picks. Because I reckon you could have heaps of opportunity for that. People are screaming for running backs.
The only problem with being that is just a compromised college year.
True.
And do we really know what we're getting?
Well, no, but I would argue that there might be more possibility that you could get some good value Like it's going to be a lot riskier. I know, yes, but yeah, you're right. Okay, all right. On that note, G, let's wrap it
I know
up.
how you struggle wrapping things up.
Oh no, I'm just looking at the questions that are rolling in the thing and just wondering if I should put
any questions? Yeah, chuck it.
Andrew's put it one up. Quick question without notice: who's done a better job, Frank Reich in Indy or Matt LaFleur at Green Bay?
Matt LaFleur, because Frank Reich picked the wrong quarterback. Because I still he doesn't. I know the winning, but he just doesn't look good. He just doesn't look good. Still too many balls flying over top of receivers. Out routes that, mate, he can't run that far out to catch the ball. Like that's stepping out of bounds.
Yes.
So I know Ballard has a say as well in Indy, but I think they all get together and it's not the only thing. No. I'm pretty sure if Reich said no, I don't want Rivers. I don't know if Rivers is the guy to take them where they want to go. And I think the problem with that is that you end up picking in the top third of the draft, and that doesn't help you if you need a quarterback. Yep. Unless you start dealing a lot of things away, or maybe someone pops up and you have to pay the dollar. Yes. But I don't see any difference of Rivers last year than to this year, except he wears a different uniform.
Oh yeah. No, he's basically the same. And Neil just said he's with me in terms of the stocking up on draft picks. I've got look. I think you can deal like very average assets and just kind of get third and fourth round picks and stuff. And I think picks in that range, they could be. They're all dart throws, G. But I think next year is going to be interesting.
Well, third and fourth rounders are going to be gold, mate. We're going to struggle to know. Like we're going to know who the top guys are already. And I think it's going to get harder and harder to know who those third and fourth round guys are if you have a compromised system. The best are always going to be the best. It's those dart throws in the third or fourth that are going to be more compromised. So I don't know if it's going to be as much gold. Maybe gold if you really know your players.
Yep.
But for the average guy that doesn't watch college football, doesn't get into that far in the draft season, mate, you're going to be relying on a lot of other people giving you information.
Yes. Neil's saying that's why you need more picks for more darts, but that's probably true every year.
Mate, I might go the other way and start giving away my draft picks.
Really?
To pick maybe first year wide receivers. Just get those second year guys for next year. Those third year wide receivers when they start to really come out. Yes,
known quantities. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fair too. And that's an absolutely fair.
It's horses for courses, isn't it? Really, in the end.
Yes, absolutely. Two different schools of thought, but anyway, you're absolutely right. But anyway, on that note, G, let's wrap it up.
Socialism, capitalism.
Which one is which? I don't know. Is capitalism selling off your stuff? Is that capitalism?
Well, that's a good question. Which one goes which way? To work that out. One's everything for the people, and the other one's you just keep it all to your bloody self.
Exactly.
And just keep accumulating more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have to think about it.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, anyway, thanks everybody for joining us, and hope you've enjoyed this one, and hope you're enjoying the NFL season. It's good to at least have football. I'm not noticing like you, G. I'm not really noticing the no crowds necessarily.
No, not as much as we found here.
Yeah, no, it's not nearly the same. So, anyway, fingers crossed that the season will keep ticking on. It's sort of looking on shaky ground in ways at the moment, but anyway, let's hope.
It's still standing.
It's still standing. Yep. Like Elton John. So, all right.
Okay.
That's an old school reference.
Yes. Okay, take it away, Rocket Man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. On behalf of G and myself, have a great week, and we will catch you next time. See you later.
You got it right. Well done.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yay! Hooray. All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya.